Welcome back to episode number 141. Today, like I mentioned, we are going to hear from my husband, who is just sharing his takeaways, the things that he's learned, what has helped him thrive in our marriage through trial and error oftentimes, and I really appreciated hearing his insights. So combined with the two, our hope is that you will take your relationship to the next level. So stay tuned. Hey parents, welcome to Fulfillment Therapy. Do you want to raise your kids better and have a stronger marriage? Are you up late at night researching marriage and parenting tools and self-care tips? Do you start each day hoping for deeper connections and less chaos, but it ends with family arguments and going 12 different directions again? My name's Kendra, wife, mom, therapist, and growth enthusiast. It wasn't until I discovered how to fulfill my unmet needs that I was finally able to show up as my best self as a spouse and parent. I realized that by meeting my needs, I could more fully meet the needs of my family with more energy and less resentment. In this podcast, I teach parents skills like boundary setting, prioritizing personal needs, communication, and claiming ownership. Just like my clients, you'll be shocked by the improvement in your marriage, parenting, and personal life when you focus on fulfilling your important unmet needs. Ready to prioritize yourself so you can quit mentally throat punching people? Then grab those earbuds and head outside, and let's walk and talk.
All right, I've been asked to share lessons from 19 years of marriage. That sounds exciting. It's kind of hard to believe. I feel so young. Well, here we go. Stay but step back. Pray together. Make decisions together. Say no. Don't run faster than you have strength or means provided for you to do certain work. Saying no to certain things is saying yes to the most important things, keeping first things first. Be accountable. Will allow yourself to be accountable and you report on what you've been doing, then it follows that it's okay that you ask what your spouse is doing, which holds them accountable, but it also keeps you guys connected and understanding each other so that things don't get out of hand. You don't get too far down the line with things out of order. Do a marriage and or household tasks inventory. This is important. Sometimes we can get so overwhelmed with certain stages and responsibilities that we become quite blind and skewed and think, oh, I've got so much going on. We know from human nature that just because someone says something's hard or acts like it's hard doesn't mean that it's that big of a deal. Now, it might be to them, but a lot of that is perceptual. And as soon as things are put into perspective, we can perform differently. So get really objective. What are all the different things being done in the partnership? And who's doing them, and how is it going? And then what adjustments are obvious to be made, and could you make? That's also really exciting, too, when it comes from a gratitude standpoint, because then you realize, oh, I'm so grateful for my spouse. Step back, create a little room, and make the unconscious conscious. Stepping back allows us to kind of get unstuck and allows us to wake up and can refresh us, allow us to inspire us to lean in. Say thank you. Say I'm sorry. Trust but verify. Stay close to Christ and do your own work. Premarital counseling, I highly suggest it. Premarital one-to-one counseling or consulting, coaching, I highly suggest it. Getting to know you, your story, your narrative in life. Like, do your work and wake up to yourself before you're with someone else. Because then what you're going to do is you're going to attract someone that's also awake. You can have similar values and it'll all work out, but it's easier to wake up and then get married, not get married, then wake up. Obviously, find someone with similar values. It's huge. It's important. We bring our pasts into the marriage, so just accept that and know that as you're dating someone. I think most importantly, like praying together and praying about your spouse. Fortunately, that's what I did, and it's worked out phenomenally. If it wasn't for that, and I didn't get the answer that I got, it would have been very, very challenging. But because I got the answer that I got, there was no question in my mind. I've always just been able to lean on that. Even the darkest moments, I can't deny the experience I had when I knew that it was the right decision to marry Kendra. Just fantastic. I mean, it's beautiful. I'm grateful for it. Believe in your spouse. This inspires them. And there's a high cost to not believe. High cost. Understand and accept your spouse's needs and your needs. And then just seek to meet them. It's amazing how easy life gets and how energizing and inspiring it is when you get to see your spouse perk up because you did something for them that they really needed. And then they do something back. And it's just this steady upward course together. It's beautiful. Learn what pure love is and seek to have it. This goes back to like doing your own work. If you're so insecure in yourself, or you don't know yourself, or you're not individuated or differentiated enough yet in your development as a human being to where you need the outside validation of someone else so you can feel good and not insecure and not anxious, then you can only love so much. But if you have done your own work, you're going to be more available to love more purely. Then your spouse will be able to have a hard day or be going off the rails, and you can say, it's all good. I'm my own person. You can be in your space and not doing well, and I will be right here standing on my own 2 feet because I am an individual. I can step back. I can set boundaries with myself and with you and make sure to be a steady rock for you here. That's beautiful. That is more pure love. It's needed in marriage and it's needed in parenting. It's needed in being a professional. It's needed in being a neighbor. It's just needed. So learn to love with a pure love and to seek that. Conflict is inevitable, but together you can decide that contention is intolerable, that you won't tolerate contention. And that decision will protect your guys' hearts. Again, keep first things first. Prioritize together. There's going to be different stages as you go through the life cycle and the different stages of a marriage where you will be disconnected. You'll be in a forming stage, and then you'll go through a norming stage, and then you'll go through a storming stage, and then if you lean in and lean to God and Jesus Christ, then your beliefs and all of the truth that's in you, as you lean into that, then eventually, after the storming stage, as you're committed together, you will transform together, and you'll go to another level. And that's a beautiful process. I'm grateful for that. But it's inevitable. Conflict is inevitable. You got two different worlds coming together. There's going to be some tectonic plate shifts going on, but it's worth it. Protect your heart. Don't let things into your heart that compete with the most important things. So how do you do that? Well, how are you spending your time? What are you thinking about? What are you attaching to? What ambitions are you attaching to? What are you allowing yourself to desire? What are you setting your heart on? Where your treasure is, there will your heart be also. So protecting your heart and your time so you stay connected and you can protect their heart. This is a really liberating phrase for me. It's being able to say to your spouse, I'm okay with you not being okay with me. Not in a flippant way or a sassy way, but in a way that's just matter of fact and full of love. Like, hey, it's okay that you're mad at me. I'm okay with that. I'm okay with you not being okay with me. That's going to happen sometimes, right? Use soft language. There's a lot of research that talks about how arguments or conversations end how they start. And if you start with soft language, if you're very careful with your language, it can be very, very good. It'll allow you to stay out of the weeds. Always have a date night. And when you can't, don't let it go more than 2 weeks without having one. Certainly not 3 weeks. Defend your spouse's personal time. Take care of them this way, especially young mothers. This is so important. I didn't really understand this until it became a necessity, really. But, well, going back to that, so defend your spouse's personal time. Suggest it. Sometimes spouses don't want to get out. Your husband or your wife won't want to get out. That's not an option. They need to take personal time. It's needed. Or eventually they're going to get burnt out and then resent and just kind of like, it's not good. So like help them take personal time. Suggest it. Defend it. Have something scheduled. This is something that one of many things that I've learned from Kendra. Like the importance of having something on the calendar. There's immediate emotional benefits to that. Looking forward to, anticipating. It's just a healthy thing to have in your life. Have weekly check-ins. Kendra and I have done this at various times in our marriage. We do it consistently now. And honestly, I wish we would have never stopped. But look at what your wins were for the week, what their wins for the week, what you were grateful for, what you noticed, what you're concerned about, what your priorities are, different initiatives within your family or within your relationship that you're keeping an eye on week after week, and just doing that weekly. And then planning with your kids, especially as they get a little older. But how cool is it to think about modeling for them? Hey, we just had our executive council in our family, the parents, time management, going over the schedule, going over just how our relationships are, different concern, both within our relationship, but also within our household and within work, everything. And then right after that meeting, having a family council where they have the right to schedule and start to develop time management skills. And one of our sons was really upset recently. It's just like, I don't want to go. And it's like, you know what? I can't blame you. We didn't tell you. And you're 13. We can't just jerk you around. Like, that's not respectful. So we're going to start respecting your time. And now we have this family council. We do it on Sunday mornings where we talk about the week and plan things out. It's not rocket science, but like, are we doing it? And it's been great. And they recognize, yeah, we agree as a family. Every one of us in our family agrees that we want to support each other in the activities and extracurriculars that we're doing, going to dance recitals, and tennis matches, and all these things. But we need to know ahead of time so that with a willing heart and a prepared schedule, like, we can show up. Protect your sacred spaces, your kitchen table, your bedroom. Don't let these places become conditioned in a negative way. If you allow yourself to bring up really high conflict or stressful things right before bed, in your bed with your spouse, night after night after night. I mean, there was a time where I couldn't even, it was terrible. Like, I didn't want to sleep next to Kendra because of what we have had allowed happen when it comes to just how we manage certain conversations and where we did it. It's good now, but it was rough for a while there. So protecting your sacred spaces. Touch, just the importance of touch in your marriage. And intimacy. Beyond, obviously, physical intimacy and sexuality. It's wonderful. It's needed for the plan to bring children into this world, and it's needed to express love in some of the highest forms and ways between man and wife, but it's just really needed in a non-sexual way. Physical touch might not be everyone's needs, but it's incredibly important for many people to regulate their nervous system and to stay connected. Co-regulation is something that's just needed. I mean, it's one of the biggest benefits, I think, in being in a relationship is just having that. It's wonderful. Another thing is to dream together. Come up with a bucket list, and then just start talking about it and believe that it can happen. And before you know it, you're doing different things. Like, we went to Costa Rica and spent a month there this last year. 4 kids under the age of 16. It was great. We had so much fun. And it happened. Also, wake up to your culture, your family culture, your faith culture, your geographic culture where you woke up, and start to challenge some of the beliefs that you have. Just because it's part of you doesn't mean it was right. It doesn't mean that everything from your upbringing was wrong either, but you'll need to adapt your church culture, or you could adapt your church culture, your geographic culture, family culture, all these things, and look at it and say, now, is that something that's really important, or was that just culture? And if you can differentiate between the two, you can have more flexibility in meeting each other's needs. Invest in your marriage. Invest money in date night. You're not always going to have money, but do what you can to invest a little bit of money into date night, a little bit of money into education for your marriage. Just accept your spouse as they are. Don't try to control them. Influence them. Speak judiciously. Be very careful with your words, because you can't take them back. Can't take them back. And man, words are windows to the heart and where beliefs reside. And it can be really wonderful, or it can be really bad. Be vulnerable. Ask for what you need and share your feelings. Also, be willing to protect your heart. Like, if the other can't respond, then make sure that you are maybe meeting your emotional needs outside the marriage. Not in a romantic way, but like sometimes your spouse can't be everything that you need, and that's okay. I would say oftentimes that's the case. But be wise, have boundaries, but just recognize that you have needs, they have needs, and you can wisely counsel with friends and leaders and whatnot to wisely respond to unmet needs. Really work on expert communication. You can become an expert in communication. Why not, right? So these are just a few things. I mean, what I did was I just turned on my audio and I just kind of like monologued for about an hour. And then I listened to it and wrote all the things down. And there's a whole lot of awesome experiences that could illustrate all of these things. But I hope it's helpful. If there's anything specific that you would like to know more about on these, maybe Kendra, we could elaborate and do further content together. But thanks, Kendra, for the opportunity, and everyone listening. I hope this is helpful for you. Thank you.
Hey friends, I hope you enjoyed today's episode. If you did, chances are someone else would too. Would you take 30 seconds to share this with a friend who's looking for greater family fulfillment? And while you're sharing, tell me what you think about the show by leaving a review on Apple Podcasts. It refuels me when I hear this podcast is helping you. No matter what your house or your hair looks like, I'll meet you back here every Monday and Thursday morning for more episodes. Until then.